to go learn about marketing. And then when you learn about it, boom, that's gonna, that's your tough thing. So that's where you got to go,
That's sick.
Yeah,
Send me a picture of that one too. Though. I wanna see that one too.
Yeah, fantastic. I read it cover to cover. This one, yeah. It's really I just devoured it when I got it. I didn't put it down.
That's so nice. So what else do you have in there?
So this one here, I've got one more book here. This one's really cool, and this relates to a couple things. So Taiichi Ono.
Okay.
So as a lot of people know, we bombed the heck out of Japan in World War II, right?
Yeah.
So pre-World War II, Japan's economy was very similar to what we think of in China, producing low-quality goods. China's changing now, but they weren't known for very high-level manufacturing. Their economy wasn't that great. And then when we basically leveled everything, they had a clean slate to start from. And so Taiichi Ono was involved with Toyota and a couple other things of rebuilding the economy in Japan. So a lot of really cool things around large scale production. Okay. And I'm really into large scale production and manufacturing principles and applying them to service businesses.
Sick, nice.
Yeah, it's really interesting for me. I like light up. It's like really exciting.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things have really played into ways of leadership in my group too, Masafe.
Okay.
So one of the things is pre-World War II, Japan is still very much like this. There's a lot of status involved. Okay. But what Taiichi Ono and this other guy Deming really says, we need to remove these leading from status. You know what I mean? So taking away like, oh, you have to follow what I do because I'm the leader. Okay. No. I'm a good leader because I'm jumping out and I'm taking the bullets first. I'm involved in the process. And there's a whole bunch of things in there. But
that's crazy.
But it's a lot of stuff around leadership. And then so after this guy Taiichi Ono, this other guy Deming jumped in there, and Toyota, it like Japan's economy went and became what it is today, of like just powerhouse, right?
Wow.
It was an absolute powerhouse.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of leadership. It's all really about leadership and approaches to leadership, which if you kind of study these manufacturing principles and these people that have developed these next level successful manufacturing principles, a lot of it comes down to leadership. And that's what we're trying to be as capoeira business owners, as teachers. And so that's been something that's been really actionable for me. That I can I read it in the book and I can do that right now, I can get better at setting the sails for my employees, meaning giving them a direction. So this is where we're going, and communicating that rather than here's your job, here's your expectations. We'll talk about in terms of you have an after school program, you hire a driver. Okay, your job is to go pick up the kids at school and drop them off at the academy. All right, you have a checklist of the kids. Okay, cool. Well, that driver doesn't know how they plug into the bigger picture of things, right? And they just have to clock in, clock out. So they don't know. So then if they don't know, then when they have to make a decision, they don't know where the ship is going. So even if they're acting in the best, they're trying to you hired an intelligent, hardworking, well-intentioned person. They're like, I'm going to do this, right? Well, I want them to do that, but they didn't know where the ship was going. So they're just making a decision, best they can, or they make no decision. And they're like, well, I don't know. I just thought it was, I don't know. I assumed something, And so when you kind of go through those principles and study those people, it's super helpful and super applicable to capoeira business, definitely, because it really just comes down to it's a people business, and leading and teaching and being out in front, and what type of leader you want to be.
That now that you mentioned the leadership part, that's such a important key role that we have to play in the as a leaders, which actually that reminds me to the book I listened before, and from this guy is called Extreme Ownership.
Extreme Ownership.
Extreme Ownership. He's
Oh,
super
cool.
super good. He's let me see here. From Jocko Willink.
Oh man, that guy's awesome.
His book. So I think
haven't read it.
he used to be Navy SEAL, I think. So
Yep.
he explains like the details, like how you can use the leadership from the military and then those kind of stuff, the actual leadership, not the tyrant leadership.
Yep.
To like business and life and everything. Is this guy right here.
He's amazing. I haven't read that book, but that guy is amazing. Yeah.
Super good. And then he made me realize so much stuff. And he's like, that makes a lot of sense, man. I need to apply this into what I do, you know. And then because I'm also not just the leader of the Capoeira community here, but also the leader my job, because I gotta lead contractors, I gotta lead them, and then you know he said, but also he talks there as a leader, you also have to learn how to be a follower. You know, you as a follower, you also have to be owner of your own actions. And this one is the one that I'm reading, which is the second part.
Oh, cool.
Dichotomy of Leadership from the same guy, Jocko Willink. He's so good, man.
Oh man, that's gonna be my new podcast I'm gonna listen to, or my new
yeah.
I'm gonna listen to that for sure.
You can either like read it. There's a hard copy, and then there's just an audio book. You can do both, but they're really really good books.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
I'm a big fan of those books.
That's great. Yeah, me too. Huge. One of the other things I've noticed, and I really want to get this out in the podcast. We had started to talk about this at Messe Lobin's event a little bit, and since that event, I've realized that this particular area is one of them that's very not ever talked about. Like even in the Capoeira schools 100%. that are into business, is understanding the financial equation. Or the accounting equation and the financial sheets, you know, cash flow and how they relate, retained earnings, all those things. And when I started to talk about this with some of the teachers there at that event, realizing that it's one of those things people don't know that they don't know that this is something that is a super serious glass ceiling. Yeah. Most people in Capoeira, they're going to focus on teaching. They're going to focus on good customer service and good experience. They're going to focus on marketing, right? Which are all very important. We need to do these things. And lots of people talk about marketing. A lot of people have great marketing knowledge. I'm into marketing, but there are people that are way better at marketing than me. For sure. But I see these people with this big blind spot if they don't understand how the money works, and they have money coming in and they feel like they're controlling the money going out, and they're like, I'm not getting to that next level, you know? And so I was lucky enough to take just intro to accounting and it was life-changing. I don't recommend anyone becoming a full accountant by any means. For sure, That's why you hire an accountant. And that's crazy important. You know, I'm scared to find out what the percentage of Capoeira school owners are that do not have an accountant. You know, you need an accountant, but you need to understand basic accounting. Otherwise, you can have money coming in and control the money going out and still basically be broke. And if you don't understand that, and I don't think the scope of this podcast is to get into full accounting equation. Let's do it. Let me pull up something here if we want to get into just super basic. But I think spending, honestly, like you know, if you're a school owner and you're just getting into it, or any business owner, and you don't know anything about accounting, it's really scary. It's like it's like when you're first learning music in Capoeira and someone starts saying like thirds and fifths and chords and this is in, you know, C sharp, and you're like, whoa, I don't understand musical lingo. You know, it's really scary, so people shy away, you know, like tempo and 6/8 and 4/4. You're like, I don't know what that is, you know. Same thing when people start saying accounting. I see it on their face. They're like, Yeah, can we just talk about marketing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Um,
And for some people to understand cash flow, the cash flow is everything you have left over after you pay all your expenses. So
yes.
like after you pay rent, after you pay whatever you need to pay, whatever you have left over from whatever you paid extra. So
Yeah.
if you have a revenue of 1,000, just to easy math, and
Yeah.
then your expenses are $800, and then per month your cash flow is going to be $200.
Yep. And cash is the absolute lifeblood of your business.
Yeah.
If you don't have cash, you are dead. So
Yes.
that is your goal, is to make sure you're hanging on to cash so you can be profitable. But if you don't have cash, you have to pay, pardon me, you have to pay the light bill, you have to pay rent, you have to put
Yeah.
gas in your car.
Yeah.
So you can be profitable.
Yeah.
So I just pulled this up on my phone real quick of like how short it can be to get just a basic knowledge. So this, I just put financial statements, and it says financial statements, lists and types of, and how to read them. 8-minute and 21-second read time. So less than 10
Oh man.
minutes.
Huh.
You can YouTube videos that are 10
Yeah.
minutes long.
Yeah.
Just do that, and you're going to be ahead of more than 95%
100%.
of capoeira school owners.
100%.
But if you just start there with the financial statements, there's 4 of them, and they all link to each other.
Yeah.
And so when you see that, and when you get into that, you're going to learn about the accounting equation. Then you don't have to be an expert. You can't. You don't even have to be able to tell somebody else about it. But once you've kind of gone through that process, you're going to see things, and you're going to understand this cash flow.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, okay, this is how I can be profitable but still be broke.
Yeah.
And then that can inform your decisions around what type of space you rent, or how many students you need, or your billing cycle. Choosing a billing cycle isn't just about convenience for your students or yourself, it's about your cash flow.
Yeah.
Do you bill all of your students all on the same day, or do you bill them based on when they start in your school?
Yeah.
So one thing that helps us is that we don't bill on the 1st of the month, or the 5th, or the 30th.
Yeah.
We bill from when they start, and it's just a rolling. So that way we have cash coming in almost every single day.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's always something coming into the account, right?
Okay.
We don't do a bunch all at once, but
Yeah.
that's so we have a better flow of the cash, right?
Okay.
So if something happens, we don't have to wait, 30 days to get the money. We wait like a little bit longer. Okay, we've got the flow in there, and like, all right, no problem. Oh, this thing came up. We can take care of it right now. We don't need to wait another two weeks, another 3 weeks until the billing cycle. So that different people, and it's fine if you bill all on the same day.
Yeah.
But that understanding is really what the difference is, and doing it intentionally. Like, I'm billing everybody on the 15th of the month because I understand how cash flow works and the financial statements work, and I've made an informed decision to bill on the 15th.
Yeah.
Or vice versa.
Yeah, for sure. And then again, that cash flow is pretty much, and again, the footwork, the food traffic is also the life of the business, and then by food traffic, I mean, but always trying to get new students coming through the doors, and then even if it's one student per month, that still helps. And then at the end of the year, you already have 12 students, right?
Oh, exactly. Yep. Yeah. That's super important. Kind of going back to what you were talking about before about showing up for every single class.
Yeah.
I think, and then tying that with the raving fans, when you see a lot of teachers discouraged when they have a small class, whatever a small class means to them, because it's really kind of arbitrary. But I tell new teachers all the time, when you get one student, teach the heck out of that class, man. Like, make it like the most engaging, like, or when you're used to maybe having 5 students, and then whatever reason you only have 1 student that night, everyone's kind of looking around going, where's everybody else?
Yeah.
You know, be like, oh, it's fine. Like, let's just rock this class out.
Yeah.
Let's give it the best we absolutely can. And let's make this a private class, and we're going to make this amazing. You know, you can go home sweating and really like a true, like good class. And like, wow, okay, I feel good. And then that's going to snowball, you know? And then when you're used to 5 students, or when you're used to 10 students, right?
Yeah.
And then you only have 5 now, you know, which might be like a huge number to somebody else, but oh man, there were only 5 students in class. Like, it doesn't matter. We're gonna have an amazing class. And then when you're used to 20 students in class, and you're like, you have 25 in class, and then you only have 15 in your class. 15's like, what? That's more than my entire academy. You know, like only 15. It's a small class night, guys. Let's just chill. Like, no, man. Like, let's give like an awesome class.
Put all the energy there.
From
1 to 20. Yeah, man. No, yeah, it's just like that. Because and then, you know, you just make the class fun, and then you just want everybody to have fun too when they come to your class, and you just always want them to come back and then do one more, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Gotta keep them excited.
I always tell everybody, like, especially like the kids, like when or even like young adults. I'm like, you know, and the harder is like when you go to a concert, right? So if you go to a concert and then everybody's just like standing around, that's such a boring concert. What about a concert that, you know, like the music is pumping and everybody's there? So you're like, man, you just want to stay there, and you don't want to leave. And then that's that we want to have a concert harder. So let's you know, let's bring that energy, and then
totally
it just changes.
Yep. And then it gets infectious, you know. It's infectious, and then they're like, and it becomes like a good snowball, and it starts like and like and you know, when you work with that type of energy, then it's like, and then you're like, I'm not even trying to get students, and people are walking in the door like, what the heck, you know, like, what's going on, you know? Because you've just created this environment that's just so powerful and attractive, you know.
And
100%. Create like a really attractive environment, you know, and people feel good. And you know, when you have a place that people don't want to leave, then that's going to be infectious, you know. And
100%. And everything starts with you, because if you don't are there, that's not gonna happen.
If you're not physically present and mentally and emotionally present, you know, there with the energy, no matter what happened during your day, you know, if you're not bringing it, you know, that people are going to feel that too, and they're going to go the other way, you know.
That's crazy. But it's cool to talk about the business side of capoeira. These are conversations that we need to talk more, because especially not to step out of the traditions on capoeira, not to to forget about that section, right? Is to complement the other side of the coin, and be like, you know, we have the culture, we have the traditions and everything else, like I said at the beginning. Is about how now I can grow and have a business and feed my family and make my hobby that I just did capoeira for 15 years. And then now I can go the next 30 years having a full-time job with a studio, capoeira studio, and then full-time income.
Totally. I think it's super important, you know. You know, for those that want it, you know, and I'm glad to see that it's changing the taboo around this. It's getting a lot better, you know, inside the United States and outside too. I think I follow a lot of people in Brazil on Instagram that talk about teaching in schools and living from capoeira, and I think it's becoming less and less taboo around the world, and more respected. I think people are realizing that you can be a successful, positive business owner, and you can be a shady, successful business owner inside or outside of capoeira. It doesn't really have to do with capoeira so much. It's just the person, you know. And there's shady business practices, and there's people that want to be true and authentic inside and outside of capoeira, you know. And I think people are realizing that. I work in capoeira, and I work in food, and the type of food that I do it's Latin inspired ice cream, and that's a very cultural thing. And so being authentic is really, really important. And especially as an outsider to you know, I wasn't born in Brazil, and I don't have South American descent. But so being authentic is really important to me.
100%.
And I feel really good. I can sleep totally fine at night knowing that I'm really genuine in both sides. Not perfect, just
Yeah.
genuine, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
And and being okay with being a business owner in both of those things without feeling that there's anything wrong with it or negative. And I think the world is starting to see this too.
Yeah, for sure.
Being able to differentiate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know plenty of people in food and in capoeira that are natives that are absolutely the worst and take advantage
100%. Yes.
and I'm sure you've been places where you have certain capoeira teachers where they're just being super shady with trying to like force you to buy the things and like
100%.
like tell you it's one price and then it's not, and like, man, and it doesn't have anything to do with them being Brazilian either. It's just that person, because we know we know plenty of people in capoeira now that are super honest and straightforward and really great to work with. And I think the community in capoeira is just not giving attention to any of those teachers that are, because we have more options now. There's great teachers around. We can choose, okay, if this person's got shady business practices, I can go over here, like, oh, it's I don't know what man, there's actually someone that I know that has been charged unfathomably high amount for their cord, a high level teacher cord, which I'm not getting into like charge or what, or even what the price should be. It's just the fact that they are blindsided by it with like in the thousands of dollars for a cord. Which, okay, if you're up front and you're like, hey, this is in our group, this is what the cord costs, and this is what you have to do to get it, and it's really clear that I have nothing against that. It might not be what I do, but I've nothing to say against that whatsoever, like zero. What I am against is like, oh no problem, go through the event and do the thing, and then afterwards tell you that it's like thousands of dollars for
and be
like,
well,
and this
no,
isn't
you owe
even
me $1,000.
this isn't even for like a really high level teacher course. It's like a medium one, and
that's crazy.
and so I think those types of things are what give the negative connotation to the business in capoeira. Sure. And but thankfully I think I really see everything shifting, and more people are like wanting to talk about this stuff and wanting to learn and being okay with it, and knowing that it's really about the person and not the business.
For sure.
So if you have a good honest person.
And same thing for on the other side, like if there's a person making a business with capoeira and having a living with capoeira, shouldn't be either talking crap about that person because that person is trying to make a living out of them, because it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, and then cannot let the insecurity take over of the effort of other person, like going to bed hungry because they had to pay the studio or pay for to be able to teach, and then you never know what goes behind doors, and then just support them and be like, hey, like, I'll go to your events, I'll go to your classes, I'll go help you, because that's going to come back somehow. It's going to come back.
Oh, absolutely. And when you're doing well as a business, a lot of us in capoeira, we love to host events, and then we can support the older mestres and support the ones that came before us, whether they have a big school or not. We want to bring this talent and the knowledge from people that came before us, and that costs money. I mean, if you want to bring an old mestre from Brazil, that costs money, or a young mestre or a guest, it's just straight out, somebody's got to pay for the plane ticket. So we say we want to connect to the old way of doing things, or we want to learn from like the big masters in Brazil. Okay, I do. And it costs, man. There's a plane ticket, there's food, there's hotel, and like, if they're gonna leave, just ethically, if they're gonna leave their academy or their job if they don't have a lot of means themselves, that's a sacrifice. So we need to compensate
100%.
them at least, so they're not losing money,
Yeah.
And even better, of course, we would want to give more and pay
100%.
well, so that
Yeah.
they're earning. The people that
Yeah.
came before us are earning, and we're able to, be that base for somebody. And I think that can be a great motivator to be really push your business. It's one of my motivators. Like,
Yeah.
the better I do a business, not only am I supporting my family, but I can do better at enriching the art for my
Yeah.
students and for people that would come to my event. Other people, not every, I don't hoard the teachers when we bring them. It's for everybody to experience.
Yeah.
So we bring this mastery or really important teacher, and they pass on their knowledge, and then it goes
Yeah.
out into the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, for sure, man. Because is and again, it comes back to support. It's a full circle. You offer the event, and then that person gets to feed their family, and then you survive or you like feed your business, and then you feed your family, and then it's just a full circle. And then the more, as a spectators outside of that we're going to visit that event, is such a key important for us to go support other schools. And then that's what I said actually on my last episode. Like, go support your schools, go support other schools, because that $150 that you are paying for that event is feeding that mestre that just came from Brazil, or feeding the kid that has in Brazil. And then it's just you never know, man. You just like go support instead of being like, hey, like, oh, that's 150, that's too expensive. I'm just gonna do a bunch of work, do classes or whatever you think it is, but it's a support that is going to help there. And then you just go to an event, you absorb a lot of knowledge, get to see your friends, you have a lot of fun during the weekend, and it just comes back somehow. Comes back.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that you had messaged me about before was about different revenue streams in the academy.
Yeah.
Switching gears back to maybe some specific. I was trying to think about people watching the podcast, and I know when I watch things like this, I like the big picture stuff, and I like to get into that, and then I want to get some like actionable things, like what can I do like right now, and I was looking at my notes of the things that you messaged me before about revenue streams. And so before, we talked a little bit about the different feeder programs, but I think when you're looking at your academy and you're trying to be successful, and we've got this idea like, okay, I want to bring this big mastery, and okay, yes, I'm in with the mentality, and I want to support, and I'm on board. Okay, but how do I do that? I don't know what do I do? So I think having the multiple programs within your academy, as much as your schedule or space allows you to, is really like a good starting point. But really, you want to begin with an end in mind, from the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. The book is like so cliche, but it's so for a reason, it's awesome. So you're always beginning with the end in mind. And for me, I'm trying to think of like, how can I create something that can run without me doing the thing, right? So teaching the class, which is really hard to do in capoeira, because we have, it takes us decades to get the specific, knowledge to be able to pass on, and it's so hard to, we're super niche, right? Like, it's something I love about ice cream. It's so much easier for me to find somebody work making or serving ice cream than it is to teach capoeira. I can train somebody in a day, to make ice cream or scoop ice cream. Well, it takes like decades to make a capoeira teacher. But even so, we can find ways to do that. And then we first create multiple programs from ourselves, we teach a kids class and we teach an adult class. That's real easy. Like right there, now I have 2 programs. So and what I found is like anybody can get like 5 students, right? Like you go to a gym, you can get 5 students. Right. Well, so then maybe you cap out 5 there. So we'll get another gym, or then go teach another age group, and then now you have 15, because you've got 2 gyms plus a kids class. But then you can start to think too about retail, which is a whole other thing. Uniforms, instruments, and then kind of learning about retail. So now you have another revenue stream.
For sure.
I think these days too, with the pandemic, online and stuff, I
Online
see,
stores, yeah.
yeah, online stores, but online classes,
Oh, that's true. That yeah.
mixing that. And one thing I've seen really interesting is that there have been some really successful teachers that have continued online classes after everything opened up,
Yeah,
and
I
they
still
still
teach
have.
online classes.
You do,
Yeah,
yeah, that's amazing,
yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm terrible at teaching online. I don't. My
Yeah,
wife created a whole kids program
yeah.
called Capoeira Clubhouse,
Oh,
and
cool.
so we just hit like a pretty big landmark of people, but they can download the episodes, and it's instructional stuff for kids. And she
Yeah.
created this whole program, and it just sits there, and it's a revenue generating thing, so she did the work one time. It was a lot of work, but she doesn't keep teaching that same class. So I
Okay.
think like a holy grail for a business owner is like, okay, well, how can I make money when I'm not doing the thing,
Yes. Where
Yeah.
you don't teach every single class.
Yeah.
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 It's exhausting.
Yeah. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's just, it caps out,
Yeah. Yeah, for
because
sure.
there are only so many hours in a day.
Yeah.
So even if you're teaching 24 classes, that's all you can teach
Yeah.
is 24 classes,
Yeah.
Um, and of course that's not sustainable. So, figuring out ways to develop others, and then, okay, well, if I have to develop others, then if I want things a certain way, then I have to get better at leading and delegating and
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
making things clear.
Yeah.
And then that just makes you a better teacher and learner too, because then they're gonna say like, well, why do we do it like this? And you're gonna
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. Whoa, this is the why, blah, blah. Yeah. Learn
Yeah.
how to express your ideas, and it's so many little things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think from there, if you're able to engage with like community programs outside of your academy, I think that's a really big, important partnership.
Yeah.
Starting first of volunteering,
Oh,
your
that's a good
time
one too. Yeah.
for zero, genuinely, like, and not like looking for the payoff right in the beginning, but knowing that the payoff is going to come later.
Yeah, for sure.
It always has for me.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But that's like another revenue stream there.
Yeah.
And then just getting creative. We also rent out our studio. We've got an off hour, so we rent out
Cool.
our
See?
academy.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great way. We rent it out to an African dance teacher, and
That's
she's
nice.
amazing. Yeah, they have the live drumming and it's like,
man,
it's super cool.
Yeah.
And
yeah, because while you don't use the studio, somebody else can use it.
Yeah,
for sure.
My friend has a school in Tallahassee, and he rents it out to like 3 other martial arts schools because
cool.
his capoeira program
Yeah.
isn't 7 days a week. He's got a full-time job. He's a doctor of physical therapy, and
Nice.
And so he rents out those open time slots, and so that academy is generating revenue even when he's not there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's nice, man. And especially like, you just always, like you say, you always want to have the revenue, always want to have the cash flow there, because it's just the life of the business.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's so nice every time we get to talk. And see, we talk for like 2 hours. We got 1 more hour. We say like you're good to talk to talk for 3 hours.
Crazy. Yeah, I just looked down on my phone. Feels like 15 minutes.
Yeah, but it's fun, man. It's fun, and and again, everything is tied up, and then is so important for us to learn, especially as a teacher. And behind that is many other things. But the business side of capoeira is good for us to understand. It's a good thing to have a business, and it's good for us to make that hobby eventually into a full-time job, and then create opportunities for other people to have a job. And then you just like so many cool things that we can do as a business owner.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
And definitely feel free to link my contact info down. I love talking about this with other owners and people that want to be own a school. And I'm pretty open. I'm happy to share everything. I don't have any secrets about it. Nice. And if there's something I don't know, I don't pretend that I know it, and I'll oh, I don't know much about that, so here, go meet this person, or go look at this book, or I'm not sure. But I have a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed it. It makes me a better person, better husband, better father, learning about this stuff. And when people ask me questions, and if I don't know, then that's learning for me too. So I'm happy to make myself a resource to anybody watching the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. And then I appreciate that, because we need the information, because especially the capoeira community is such a new thing for everybody, and then it's just like how new thing, quote unquote, right? That how we started the business, how we get there, how do they get where I want to be, instead of taking 10 15 years trying to figure out how to go full time. Just trying to figure it out in a couple years, and then a few years, but with the help of somebody that already knows, and then already made the mistakes. Just like like you said at the beginning, just the mentorship is such a important thing.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I'll put your website there for people to reach out.
Okay, awesome, man. Kashishi, you're amazing, man. I love this podcast, and loving what you're doing for the academy, or for the community. All the different variety of guests and music and knowledge and teaching and events and discussion and everything. And I just want to say I really appreciate what you're doing. It's really awesome.
Thank you, man. It's just like I said this at the beginning of when I started the podcast. It's just like I personally have so many questions, and like I can even wonder like how many people have the same questions. Just like, how do you do this? Well, how, or afraid of asking, because you sometimes you're shy to ask, or say like, well, what if they don't tell me, or they don't want to share their knowledge, and then I'm the one knocking the door. Hey, you want to tell me about this? It's just, and sometimes I ask on Instagram, and I guess people are shy to say, but sometimes it's like, hey, what do you want to know? Because I don't know, I have so many other questions that I'm going to be asking. If that information is there for free, man. Is online. Is almost 150 episodes. This is going to be 139, I think.
Wow.
And then wow. Man. And then it's just a lot of information. It's just like I'm a curious. That word, man, I forget the words. That curious, that I want to know how things work. I forgot the name. But I want to know how things work, but it's because I want to apply down my life. I don't want to know just for curiosity. I want to know because I want to use it. I want to know how to drive because I want to drive, because I want to get where I want to be. And then that's my reason why I ask, and the reason why I have the podcast is just to bring that to the capoeira community, because I know somebody's going to have that question there.
100%, man. Couldn't agree more. That's awesome.
Man. Yeah, and then if we always say, man, I don't care if capoeira style, capoeira group, I don't care about that, man. It's just this is for capoeira, for us to grow all together, and then there's no such a cool thing that go to a hut, and so many logos, so many capoeira school, capoeira styles, and everybody just having fun. It's just nice.
Yeah, man. Well, it's really cool. You bring in so many people together. It's awesome. It's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, man. I appreciate you too, of course. Because is you also an example of how to do stuff, and then through the mistakes that you did, and then all the stuff, learning and sharing these on the podcast too, just like open is pretty cool to, like, I learned this. This is my precious.
No way.
I do appreciate you too for doing that, and then just coming here and then sharing that and helping other people too.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah. We just help each other, and then we're here to help each other, man. There's no such thing as being egoist or like selfish here. It's just like, let's just do it all together, man.
Yeah, that's great. We all get better for it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, man, let's definitely keep chatting all these. We'll probably talk a little more about like specific things like marketing, or just like how to reach out a couple of other schools, and then how to there's so many other things that we can talk about.
So we'll go for hours.
Another 2 hours.
Another 2 hours. Yeah.
I'm so fun, man. I love talking about this, man. I can keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Cool, man. Awesome, well, thanks again.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for having me. for coming,
right.
for having me, for coming to podcast.
Thanks for having me. All right, man. Have a great night.
See you
later.
too, man. Bye.
Peace.
Hey, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being part of this episode one more time. And thank you so much for being part of the Capoeira community. I'm very happy you made it all the way to the end. Now, make sure you listen to the next episode next week or the following week or the previous episodes. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram. And don't forget to reach out so we can have you on the podcast. Okay. Thank you so much for being part of this amazing journey in the Capoeira community. And I really, really hope to see you one time here in Indianapolis, or I'll see you in the hot next time. Okay. Keep training, keep your Capoeira school, keep supporting your Capoeira school, and keep training, keep loving Capoeira, keep training, keep playing the Hoda. I'll see you in the Hoda next time.